The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
Welcome everyone to the Habits of Health call. I'm Amber Smithson, certified OPTAVIA coach, and go ahead and put in the chat where you are coming from. Let's see who we have on tonight. Let's see who is joining us, where you are from. I see Alabama, Orlando, Florida, Texas, Wyoming, Seattle. They're going too fast. I can't even read them all. But we're so excited to have everybody on tonight. We have an amazing Zoom set up for you tonight, and some of you may be joining us live, and others you might be listening to the podcast playback, or you can also watch playbacks on the YouTube Habits of Health channel. So however you're joining us, we're so happy to have you here. Now, there's a lot of different types of people who join the Habits of Health call each week. Some are clients of OPTAVIA, and we like to refer all of us as OPTAVIANs. We are all part of OPTAVIA, no matter if you're a client, if you are a certified OPTAVIA coach, or maybe you're one of our health professionals, or maybe you're just checking us out and you're thinking, boy, I just want to see what this OPTAVIA community is all about. So either way, welcome to the call, especially if this is your first one that you've joined in on. Now, another thing you may find on these calls is that sometimes we talk about different phases of your journey to health. Some clients are on our 5-in-1 weight loss. Others are maybe doing a 4-2-in-1 or a nursing mother's plan, or some are in their optimizing phase or transition. So we might talk about any part of those phases tonight, but specifically, I'm excited to tell you a little bit about transition and optimization. Now, some people think, okay, I've reached my goal weight and now I'm done. Why don't you put in the chat if you have ever had that thought before, that that scale, that is your boss and it tells you when you're done. Because I'm seeing hello, or Christine says never. So sometimes we have these thoughts that when that scale shows us a specific number, we are done, we are ready to go back to whatever we were doing before. And tonight, I want to really help you focus on what life looks like after you reach that number on the scale, if you were in a weight loss phase. So before we get into that transition optimization information, I wanted to start out with sharing my story. Now, I used to be overweight. On the BMI, if I looked at that chart, then it told me I was overweight. But it wasn't just the weight that I was struggling with. It was really that my energy was low. I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that I had high cholesterol, that my blood sugars were in pre-diabetic levels. It was no good. When my kids were like, Mom, let's go to the park, and you could push me on the swing, I'd say, let's watch a movie. Mom is super tired. So I don't know if there's anybody who is listening who can relate to that. But it's good to know that we have this great program that really allows us to not just lose weight, but to really optimize. And even a few years after I lost my weight, I decided it was time for me to really step it up to the next level. I realized that I was ready to really put more energy into exercise and building muscle, and I just wanted to see what my body could do. And so this picture on the right is me just a couple months ago, and I still worked out today. I'm still working on it. This isn't something that I'm done with necessarily at any point, but it's something that when you're part of a community of people who want to continually get better and better each day, that every day is about what can I do now? Dr. A, who is our medical director and wrote the Habits of Health that we use as our education, he talks about just getting incrementally better. Just maybe work on 1%. What can I just push just a little bit more, and what area can I improve on? Because there's a lot of different areas of health. If you think about it, it's not just how you eat, and it's not just exercise. There's sleep. There's how am I dealing with my stress, hydration. There's so many different areas that we can focus on in our health. And that's why I love OPTAVIA and how we can just continue getting better. And that is why we don't call it maintenance. So many people are like, wait, what do I do in maintenance? And I say, well, we don't even have that phase, so you don't need to worry about it. We call it optimization because we want to continually get better and better. So that's a little bit about my story. But I wanted to bring on another certified OPTAVIA coach, Hugh Morrison, to tell us a little bit about his story. Hugh, are you there?
Yes, I am. I just had to figure out the unmute button.
Okay.
Yes, you never know when you're going to post your transformation. I don't want to call it before and after, but a transformation picture where it's going to end up. Be on here with you and to share my story as well. Been into physical fitness and running and exercising, and I've always enjoyed doing that and all my life. But even though I was doing that, I always seemed to have this, as you can see in the first picture there, this little bit of belly fat that I always could not get rid of. And so I'm just going to rewind a little bit, but go back about 10 years. I was going through a really tough time in my life. I was going through a divorce and struggling with the stress that comes from that, you know, and so I threw myself really into the gym at that time and thought, you know what, I'm going to just work out like crazy. And I was about 40 years old at the time. And I thought, you know, I'm just going to get in the best shape of my life, because why not? And I was killing myself at the gym. I was going, I was doing 2-a-days actually. And I was going close to 4 hours a day, just running my guts out at the gym and lifting weights. And I still had that little bit of belly fat as well. But what happened is I thought I was in great shape. And so I had a new job come up and I had to go in for a physical. And when you go in for a physical, they draw your blood and they check all your levels, see where you're at and make sure you're healthy. And my doctor, it turns out that he tells me that my good cholesterol is so bad that I'm actually at risk of a heart attack at any time, which I was like, no way, look at me. I've got a 6-pack. I look great. I feel great. There's no way, there's no possible. But he's like, yeah, it is. And it's really due to your diet. I had no idea that, you know, the proper diet really makes a difference. And it just goes to show you can't outrun a bad diet and outwork a bad diet. So I'm just going to kind of fast forward now to 8 years from then. And I've had a new life, a new wife, more kids, less hair, as you can see. And I had a few extra happy pounds that I added on. And I actually had maxed out at my 172, which may not seem a lot to some people, but I'm 5'7". So for me, that was a lot. And one thing I was going to point out here, looking at my pictures, is I was actually not eating very well at that time either. A lot of high fat foods, and ended up having a gallbladder attack, and had to have my gallbladder out. So you can see a little scar there on right the other side of my belly button there. That in about 2 months or so, 3 months after that, is when OPTAVIA found me. And I'm I almost get emotional because I'm so grateful for my OPTAVIA coach who reached out, was kind enough to reach out to my wife and I and to share her story and her transformation. And at that time, I was kind of tired of where I was at in my job, and I was looking for something new. I was looking for a gym I could buy, and so I was looking at that and where I could help people. And I was like, man, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need in my life. And this is an avenue that I can go. So actually that day that I signed up to be a client of OPTAVIA and start on the program, I actually signed up to be an OPTAVIA coach as well. And I was able to go ahead and make that transition. And it seemed like it was funny because 2.5 months later, first when I signed up, I thought, well, I've got 5 pounds to lose. I'll sign up as a client as well, so I can learn what clients go through to lose it. And so I did, and 2.5 months later, I'd lost that idea that I had that little bit of extra the difference in those first two, and so. But the big was that when I wanted to go back to the doctor and I wanted to be able to see what my blood levels were at. And so I did. And when I went in, he checked my blood, everything. I said, check it all. I want to know exactly.
I think we're losing Hugh.
Lost in translation.
For sure. But just the gist, because I know Hugh and he's a friend of Jared and myself. And I know that he saw such good improvement with his health, even though he thought he was healthy. He utilized the OPTAVIA program and optimized his health. And this is where he's at today. I mean, how great is that? When I saw him post his picture the other day, I was excited to have him on the call. So thanks so much, Hugh, for sharing your story. And I think that is really inspiring to a lot of people on this call. So thank you so much, Hugh. Okay, now.
You lose me there?
Yeah, oh, he's back. Hugh, can you go ahead and do this slide for us as well? Okay, I think we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, sorry about that. Hopefully you caught some of that. When I went back to the doctor and I wanted him to test my blood levels and everything, and he came out and he said, your cholesterol's, everything looks good. My cholesterol levels were good. And I felt amazing. And I just wanted to share what I knew then with everybody that I knew, because what a difference it made in my life. And so at that point I made the transition from where I was at. I remember that I needed to transition from the 5 and 1 after losing my weight. And I know that's a super scary time for everybody. And it's just like when we start on the 5 and 1, that's a scary time. We don't know what to expect. It's the same thing with transitioning off the 5 and 1 into the right program that you need. And I remember being at, actually looking at Dr. JC's video of him of when he was transforming transitioning, and he said once he was fully engaged in the program of not just his weight, but also going to events and things, that he was able to get to where he wanted to be. And that's what I wanted. So I learned that listening to Dr. Anderson at Dr. A Unplugged at convention, which is awesome. Everyone should go to convention. You learn so much, and I will never miss one. I learned that that Dr. Anderson was saying I needed to sandwich, if you're a heavy exerciser, 45 minutes to an hour, sandwich your workouts or your workout between proteins. And so you're able to get enough in there, and you're not going to have a deficit. And so at that time, I figured out what I needed to transition to, and ended up transitioning to the 5 and 2 plan, because it worked best for me for leaning down a little more what I wanted, and then also still giving me the calories the intake that I needed at that time. Like I say, it's a scary time, but that is the time that you need to be connecting to your OPTAVIA coach. This is why this program is so amazing. You're never alone. You've got your coach right there, arm in arm with you. And so get with your OPTAVIA coach if you're at this point, and make a new plan, set some new goals, get that structural tension back again. And so you can propel yourself to the next level and make that work for you where you want to be. And I never thought I would make it to that last picture, but I had that vision in my head. And when I put it side by side, I was like, wow, I made some improvements and it looks good. I felt good. But the one key thing, like it says it on the slide, we need to be making sure we're still fueling our bodies the same way, no matter what you transition to, with the proper fuelings. And so you're going to transition and still eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. And so you're getting those right nutrients that you need. And Amber's going to talk about that right here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Hugh. I sure appreciate you sharing that story and giving a little heads up. Okay, so like Hugh said, sometimes people can feel a little bit nervous because it's new, going into transition after they've reached that healthy weight. So right in your OPTAVIA guide, you're going to want to dig that out again. A lot of you are probably just experts on your lean and green and on the 5 and 1 after you have been in weight loss phase, but it's time to start learning something new. So like Hugh said, connect with your coach, but it's really simple. That first week after you've reached that good healthy weight, then you're going to add an extra serving of vegetables. And this can be any. This is a good time to say, okay, I've been waiting to have that corn on the cob, or boy, I'd love to throw some raw carrots onto my salad, or whatever it is. Just incorporate that right into your 5 and 1 and additional serving of vegetables. The second week, keep that additional serving of vegetables and then add some fruit. Have some fun with this. Maybe before you just do canned fruit, now you're going to go and pick some berries at the berry patch, or you're going to add a banana to your vanilla shake. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just get those extra carbohydrates in there with fruits and veggies and lower those fuelings to 4. That third week, 4 fuelings, 1 lean and green, the fruit, the veggies, and now you get to add some low fat or fat-free dairy. And if you're not big on dairy, then you can use almond milk, or, there's a lot of different options there, yogurt. And then that fourth through 6th week, you're going to be slowly getting your calories up to what your set point is going to be. And we're going to go over that as well. So you need to know your TEE, your total energy expenditure. That's the number of calories that your body requires to maintain weight. Because once you're at your healthy weight, you don't need to lose anymore. But really, we are going to go over how to find your TEE, but that's only half the story. So I am going to share something that may be helpful for you. I'm going to bring up on the OPTAVIA.com website right now and help you to know how to find your TEE. Now, each of your coaches has their own OPTAVIA website, but if you go to OPTAVIA.com and mouse over products and programs and click on Optimal Health 3 and 3 plan. This is one of our awesome plans for people to follow after their transition. If you scroll down to the bottom, this is where you'll be able to figure out your total energy expenditure. So I'll give you an example. I weigh about 140. I am 5'10". I'm 38. I'm giving you guys all my info here. Now you know. And then I hit next, and I'm going to choose my activity level. Now, this is important, that sometimes we have in our head that, oh yeah, we're going to hit it at the gym. We're going to go every day. We're going to burn 1 million calories, and then life gets in the way. So what I always tell my clients is figure a little low. So maybe you're not sedentary. Maybe you do some exercise. Maybe we're going to start it slightly active. And that's going to really help us to get that bottom level of calories. So my TEE is a little under 2,000. And after you get that number, then right here it says check out the Optimal Health 3 and 3 Plan Guide. Just go ahead and click on that, and right here at your fingertips, you're going to learn a lot. And you can add this also to your order because you're going to need fuelings for your transition, and most people love fuelings into maintenance as well. So it tells you, step 1, calculate your TEE. We just did that. We're good there. Next, you're going to choose your meal plan based on your TEE. And this is the cool part, is you can get a list from your coach that has healthy exchanges. Or you can go to answers.optavia.com and just type in healthy exchange list. And this is really helpful because it has all the different calorie levels by 100 calorie from 1200 all the way up to, I think it's like 2900. And after you find your TEE, just plug into one of those plans. And it just makes it so simple, especially if you're utilizing fuelings into maintenance or into, I just slipped. That was a test, into optimization. It just makes your life super simple. Okay, I'm going to bring back up my slideshow. I want to help you guys to know the other side of the story, because how many times have you counted calories and it didn't work? You didn't lose weight, or you counted points, or you counted whatever, and you're like, why isn't it working? That's because it's only half the story. The other half of the story is controlling your insulin pump. So here's just a little bit of info, and this can be found in Dr. A's Habits of Health book. But there was a study done by David Jenkins, and he took 2 groups of people, and each group ate the exact same foods, the exact same calories, but one of the groups ate 3 traditional meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the other broke their meals up into 6 small meals in a day. And what happened is the group that ate 6 smaller meals, they lost more weight, they reported to be less hungry, their cholesterol dropped by 15% over the other group, and their blood insulin levels dropped by 28% over the other group. Now, there's something very statistically significant about this study. And this is something that we are not going to only think about in weight loss phase, but we want to think about this into the rest of our lives and really make sure that we are helping our insulin pump to work correctly so our body doesn't store fat. The other side of it is making sure that the foods that we choose are low glycemic. Dr. A says in his book, stay in the green and stay lean. And it's such a good thing to think about whenever you're choosing different foods. And Hugh, I'm going to bring you back on. I want you to tell us what stood out to you when you learned about the glycemic index.
The one thing I did notice when I was looking over the glycemic index is that one thing you see is that raw carrots are lower in glycemic, and then the cooked carrots, because of their higher fiber, and it's not cooked out. And I also plug on the zucchini right now. It's being one of the lowest ones. Everyone should be having zucchini coming out of their ears right now. One of my favorite dishes is zucchini lasagna. You just slice that up, use that for noodles instead of the pasta noodles. It's just a great way to change one thing out for another for a healthy version. So
I love that, Hugh. Such a good point. And it's interesting, right, that if you cook a food, it changes its glycemic index. That's something to consider. And just, it's not like you look on here and go, oh no, pineapple, that's 59. That's too high, I can never eat pineapple. That's not what this is. Really, it's just to help you be more conscious of what you're choosing day in and day out. And when you are choosing a higher glycemic option, that you're balancing it out with some protein to keep that blood sugar steady and even. And just remembering that the principles remain the same. The principles that you learn in 5 and 1, it's kind of like, have you guys seen that poster that's like, everything I need to know in life I learned in kindergarten? And it's like, play nice in the sandbox, share. It's the same principle is true with when we're in the weight loss phase. The principles are the same. Eat your breakfast within an hour of waking up. Make sure you're getting that metabolism jump started, that you're giving that boost, starting to eat. Eat every 2 to 3 hours throughout the day. This is something that just becomes habit when you are doing one of our weight loss plans. This is something we want to keep into that optimization phase and in transition. Make sure that you're macro balancing, that every time you're eating some carbohydrates, you're having some protein to keep that blood sugar steady and even, to help your insulin pump not to have to work overtime and store fat. And then drinking your water. You want to make sure you're staying hydrated. If you haven't heard, we have an awesome new product, the Purposeful Hydration, and I have to put a plug in for the raspberry lemonade. I cannot live without it. I love it to death. And then moving your body, building in movement into your body, whether that's parking or building in movement into your day, whether that's parking farther away at the grocery store, park at the back of the parking lot. Take the stairs. When you see elevator or stairs, your brain, teach it to automatically go, of course, stairs, because I'm an OPTAVIAN. OPTAVIANs take the stairs. Or if there's only an escalator, walk up the escalator. Or, just anything, go for a walk. Walk your dog. Walk with your significant other in the evening. Around your neighborhood. It doesn't always mean that you have to have this gym membership where you work out, 100 hours a week. It's really about having an active lifestyle. That's the biggest thing about it. All right, I want to bring David Bush on. David, any last minute thoughts on transition and optimization?
You bet. Well, great job, Hugh and Amber. I think you summed it up really nicely. I think I would just say, after losing 100 pounds on the program 10 years ago, that the challenge is to focus on what it is that you want to create in your life and to not focus in on the weight that you've lost or that you want to lose. Really focus on what Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 of Dr. A's Habits of Health book is all about, which is to create your desired outcome. And oftentimes when we start, our desired outcome is to get rid of the weight. But really what we need to do is we need to transform our thoughts to think about what does optimal health look like for us, and to really focus on what could we do if we put our minds to it, and work with your coach on this. This is what their role is for. Your coach is not a weight loss coach. Your coach is an optimal health coach, and they will help you to take the steps to create the health and well-being in your life. And that's probably another aspect of the coaching I didn't even think of when I first started the program, Amber. I just thought that this coach was going to help me to lose weight. I never even thought of the idea that they could actually help me to create a better life. And so work with your coach, ask questions, read Chapter 3 and 4, go to Chapter 21 where it says creating well-being in your life. Oftentimes what we find in our coaching of other clients in our own lives is that we oftentimes have problems that are hidden behind the problem. And when one problem is resolved, it opens up the door for us to get rid of some other problems, like a different way of thinking that may not have been helping and serve us. So really focus on getting back into the habits of health. That's why this webinar is called the Habits of Health webinar, because we want you to be embracing the habits of health. Thanks, Amber.
Love it, David. And when you were talking, it really made me remember one of the key factors that Dr. A talks about in his book is making that fundamental choice. If you are on a diet and you just are waiting to go back to how you used to be, then guess what? It's going to be hard. Transition and optimization is going to be a daily struggle. But as soon as you make that fundamental choice that you want optimal health in your life, it becomes a whole lot more simple. If you think about it, something that you've made a fundamental choice in your life already, for me, my fundamental choice is I am a married person. I'm married to my husband, Jared, love him to death. That's my plan to do for the long term, married. And it's not hard for me. I'm not going, oh, I wish I could date around or get on the dating sites online, or I don't even know the dating sites online, because my fundamental choice is I am a married woman who loves my husband, and that's my plan. And the same is true when you make that fundamental choice for optimal health in your life, then it becomes a whole lot less complicated. You're not going, oh no, oh, do I really want to work out? Or do I eat the pumpkin latte specialty, whatever? No, you're going, no, I'm gonna grab my fueling, I'm going to fuel my body with good, healthy stuff because my fundamental choice is optimal health. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us on the Habits of Health call.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.